Alright, so as I'm recording this video, there is little less than half a day until the 2.4 update goes live for Starro. With it will be the first half of the banners being the Yunli banner and the Powerhouse rerun. And today I'm here with the should use summon for Yunli. So this video will run you through her kit, her Eidolons, some strengths and stuff you want to know, along with some stuff that might not be to the liking of most players. So pretty much just some pros, some cons, why she's good, why she might struggle, and then how to know if she's right for your account. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Before I get to the video, drop a like, drop a sub, hit the bell icon for more videos like this. Let's get straight into it. So first, going over Yunli and her kit and Eidolons. So Yunli is a physical character following the path of destruction. Her basic attack deals physical damage equal to 100% of Yunli's attack to a single target enemy. Her skill restores HP equal to 30% of Yunli's attack plus 200, deals physical damage equal to 120% of Yunli's attack to a single target enemy, and deals physical damage equal to 60% of Yunli's attack to adjacent targets. And now for her ultimate, where she gets kinda crazy. Consumes 120 energy, Yunli gains parry and taunts all enemies, lasting until the end of the next ally or enemy's turn. Increases crit damage dealt by Yunli's next counter by 100%. When triggering counter effect from the talent, launches the counter into a Cult instead and removes the parry effect. If no counter is triggered while parry is active, Yunli will immediately launch the counter into its slash on a random target enemy. Into its slash deals physical damage equal to 220% of Yunli's attack to that target, and deals physical damage equal to 110% of Yunli's attack to adjacent targets. Into a Cult does the same thing as into its slash, but it also additionally deals 6 instances of damage, each doing physical damage equal to 72% of Yunli's attack to a random single enemy. When Yunli deals damage via this ability, it is considered ultimate damage. And now for Yunli's talent. When Yunli gets attacked by an enemy target, additionally regenerates 15 energy and immediately launches a counter on the attacker, dealing physical damage equal to 120% of Yunli's attack to the attacker, and physical damage equal to 60% of Yunli's attack to adjacent targets. If there is no immediate targets to counter, then counters a random enemy instead. Her technique: this unit gains the ward effect, lasting for 20 seconds. During this time, upon entering combat, by either attacking enemies or receiving an attack, immediately casts into a Cult on a random enemy, and increases damage dealt by its attack by 80%. So you go into the battle, and you immediately drop the sword on them. For her bonus traces, her A2, after each use of Into It Slash, the next Into It Slash will be replaced by Into It Cult. Her A4, while in the parry state, resists crowd control debuffs received, and reduces damage received by 20%. And her A6, when using a counter, increases Yunli's attack by 30%, lasting for 1 turn. And now for her Eidolons. Her E1 increases damage dealt by Into It Slash and Into It Cult by 20%, increases the number of additional damages instances for Into It Cult by 3. So it's giving you a 20% damage boost no matter what counter you are using, and if you do hit Into It Cult, you get an additional 3 hits, which is going to jump the damage even more. Her E2, when dealing damage via a counter, ignores 20% defense. We know how good that is because ignoring defense is broken. Her E4, after launching Into It Slash or Into It Cult, increases this unit's effect res by 50%, lasting for 1 turn, so just some more effect res to resist crowd control debuffs. Kind of a weak E4 in my opinion, but it's there. And then her E6, while the parry is active, if an enemy actively uses their abilities, regardless whether it attacks Yunli or not, it will trigger Into It Cult and remove the parry effect. When dealing damage via a Into It Slash or Into It Cult, increases crit rate by 15% and physical res pen by 20%. So it pretty much just makes it to where you don't need to be directly attacked, you can just counter regardless, and it also gives you more crit rate and physical pen. So as you can see through her kit, Yunli is mainly a counter-based character. Her damage is going to be via a countering, so she very similarly works to Clara. So if you use Clara or you're a Clara main, you definitely know how to use her. The whole goal is to have ult uptime and timing properly, just so you don't get Into It Slash as much as you mainly get Into It Cult, because the damage jump from Into It Slash and Into It Cult is very big. A regular counter might deal 70 to 100k, but Into It Cult can jump all the way up to 400k. So the playstyle of Yunli is mainly just to have energy uptime, so running characters that might help her with that, such as Powerhouse as just a stay-in, and then someone like Ting Yun. Having them there helping with their uptime helps you get Into It Cult a lot more. And with more Into It Cults, you'll be dishing out more damage, and it also very much helps that her ult has an inbuilt taunt. So when you do time the Into It Cult properly, you will definitely be getting it off and getting a big hit in. And even if you do mess up thanks to her A2, there is a bit of a safety net to help you, so you trigger it Into It Slash and then boom, now you get Into It Cult next time. So even if you mess up, she's still pretty forgiving with her playstyle. But yeah, the moral of it is to pretty much set up counters in a way you have Into It Cult proccing the most. So if you're someone that's very much into the timing ult and counter damage, then Yunli is going to be a really good pick for you. The only problem she might have is against enemies that are on the slower side, or if you are breaking enemies, they can't really attack you when they're broken. So if you are running her something, again, where the enemies are slower, or if you do break them, or if you're running a stage where the first time enemies are kind of up and they don't really attack, just like the Pure Fiction stage, where around the second wave, it's mainly the enemies that blow up. So the first whole thing is mainly them just setting up, so you waste a whole turn on that, so you can't really get the damage out. And that's sort of where she will struggle to dish out damage. But besides that, she doesn't really have many other faults. And now, first talking about if you, the player, should be summoning for Yunli. So the first thing is to consider is your own account, obviously. You'd have to look at your account and see where your priorities are. Do you already have 2 good sustains for your teams? Or are you at the point where you might have them and now you're looking for a DPS? If you have your sustains, or this is your first team and you already have your first sustain, now you're looking for your second DPS, then Yunli is going to be a very big candidate because of the sheer damage she can do, and because of how easy it is to actually use her. And then obviously something to consider is if you like the counter playstyle. So if you're someone that does have Clara and you like using Clara, then you'll most likely like using Yunli probably even more. So definitely consider the playstyle first, because if you don't like the counter playstyle, then you obviously can't really do much about that. And then another thing to consider is if you don't really have another physical DPS, there really isn't that many options right now. We mainly just have Boothill and Argenti. If you might not have both of them, or you might have Argenti, which you probably won't be using outside of Pure Fiction, then Yunli becomes a really good option because physical weakness might be a bit of a problem for you, since there's no one else that can really do that much stuff to them, because physical outside of those two are kind of weak. So Yunli will be a very, very good physical DPS to use. So if you're at the point with your account where you are considering a DPS, Yunli is going to be a really good option. And then the last thing is if you do have the teammates / are you willing to go for the teammates? Because as I mentioned, the whole thing is to mainly have uptime on your ult. And so characters like Ting Yun and Huo Huo will be really good with that. Huo Huo is more of a sustain stop for that thing. You can definitely replace her because the energy is very, very helpful. And it is definitely the best for her. But it is definitely not something you have to have in order to use Yunli to her fullest. You can definitely still get by without using energy characters. But if you also have someone like Ting Yun, I definitely recommend building her. And if you're willing to build her or you already have her built, then that would be another plus for you because Ting Yun is going to be really good thanks to the energy she provides. So if you're willing to build the teammates that are going to be really good with Yunli, once again, characters like Fuo, a shielder like Aventurine or Jeopard, even like links for extra taunt if you really want it, then buffers like Robin, Ting Yun, Ruanmei. Pretty much if you're just willing to put the effort into building the team or you already have it set up, then you should definitely consider Yunli because she will be a very big powerhouse. And now for some reasons why you maybe shouldn't summon for Yunli. The first major reason is if you already have a pretty invested into Clara. While yes, Yunli is a lot better in my opinion, Clara's still gonna get the job done just fine. Clara's still just gonna be really good, and Yunli is practically just a premium limited version of Clara. So if you're kind of in between and you want other characters, say if you're considering one of the reruns or if you're considering a future character, but mainly if you're just torn in between, if you already have a build Clara, I would definitely just recommend skipping. Because once again, Yunli I think is going to be better, even with the Clara with dupes, I think Yunli is going to be better. But if resources are sort of scarce, I would definitely just recommend skipping. Unless you want to go for the light cone, because the light cone is going to be the best for Clara, so you can do that instead. Anyway, but besides that, the other thing is, if you're looking at your account, it's practically just going to be the opposite reasons for why you should summon. If you look at your account and you maybe need some sustains, it would definitely be better to skip for a sustain because you want to get that solved first. I always say sustains is the most important. So I would definitely recommend getting that first, or summoning for the whole rerun, or saving for an Aventurine rerun, something like that. And then the other thing is if you already have a bunch of DPSs, or if you already have your physical DPS slot filled, such as just having Boothill, then you won't really need another physical DPS because you don't need one for each side. So if you already have a physical DPS slot filled, you don't really need another one. And then that obviously applies to if you already have enough DPSs. Let's say you already have Acheron, Firefly, Boothill, a follow-up team, dot team, all that stuff, then you don't really have to consider another one. So again, mainly just for the other reasons of why you should summon. And then obviously if you do not like the counter playstyle, if you don't like using Clara, or you just don't think you like the counter playstyle at all, with timing the ultimate and getting the intimate calls, then obviously you can't really do much about it and you'd want to be skipping. And yet that is the should you summon for Yunli. Even with these reasons, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be skipping because we do have some crazy stuff coming. The reruns for 2.4 are going to be crazy. Now that we're tapping into the reruns for Penacony, that means Acheron, Aventurine are going to take a lot of priority for a lot of people. Especially with the character like Feisha and Lingsha coming up. Yunli is probably going to get overlooked. But there will always be the few people that will actually be going for her, including me, because I really like using Clara. Yunli is going to be a lot better, and the damage output she can get off into a Cole, especially even without dupes or even without a light cone. I can't imagine that with dupes and light cone. We're going to see how far we can take it. Anyway, yep, hope you guys found the video helpful. Peace. Peace out.